This is Larry the Barber Man. I'm at Barber Connect 2017 with Stell the Talent, which is an employee of Ego Barbers and head of education for a new barber academy they have coming soon, Kings of Tomorrow. The reason I'm interviewing Stell today, he called me out in our group interview with Ego Barbers. It's my time now to call him out and make him accountable for my great education I have. That's my testimonial of Stell's education. So Stell, you called me out. Describe to me my level of barbering before you called me out.
Well, you had none, didn't you? Like, look, you knew about how to fix all the clippers and that's what you was known for, innit? But in terms of being able to cut hair, I mean, you was a total novice, weren't you? So, yeah, there was no experience there or anything like that, so.
Taken from zero to hero.
Exactly.
So you made an outline for me. I don't want you to go into any details of how you taught me what you taught me, but just go through the outline and the importance of the outline structure we went through.
Okay, so obviously taking you on, you're a complete novice, so it's a little bit different to what me and Harry are looking to do with people that already have some experience. So in your case, it was very much about starting from the beginning, so really understanding how to work with hair more than anything, so dealing with long lengths. And it's not even to do with the cutting at first, it's more understanding how to hold the hair, how to comb it, section it, understanding how the scissors work, how to apply pressure to it, how to section hair. So there was a lot of prep before anything really even started in terms of, you know, cutting hair. So
in your own opinion, Stell, where would you say my biggest areas of difficulties were during our 14-day challenge?
I think a lot of it was, you know, like I said at the beginning, dealing with the long lengths of hair, because a lot of the time people would come in and work with very short lengths, yeah? So if they don't start from scratch, they don't deal with such long lengths and knowing, you know, understanding how to hold the hair, to section it. So that, I think, was your biggest challenge, because everyone who knows, who has worked with longer hair, say through the hairdressing industry, it's very hard to get to grips with how much hair to pull it up with the right tension, how to use the comb, how to not ruin the section you just made. So I think that was your biggest challenge. But once you conquered that, then we kind of started going at a more rapid pace, I think. So didn't you feel that was a bit difficult for you?
Yeah, no, 100%. I just need to hear it from your perspective.
But I find that all the time, though, even with my previous experience when I educated before, that is always the biggest challenge, because a lot of people see short hair and it's much easier. Once you get the lengths down on a block, you know, you can go through a haircut a lot quicker than what you would do when you're dealing with mounds of hair. So that is the biggest challenge, really.
Okay, so let's come off of zero to hero.
Yeah.
A totally different subject. Let's say you've got your classic urban barber that is, you know, way ahead of his game with clipper work, and he wants to now go into scissor work. What are some of the challenges you see with even that seasoned barber?
What I see a lot is that the haircut is usually dictated by what the clippers do, because that's their strongest point. And what tends to happen is that the shape is always an afterthought, and a lot of the time the clippers will work away a lot of your layers without even them realizing that they're doing it. That's what tends to happen. So the hair on top, or the shape that they're trying to build, isn't really consistent with what the head shape really demands for that style to, you know, to stay in line for the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, however long your client needs to be away from you before they come back. And that's the biggest challenge, because I think that the clipper works overtake whatever's happening on top, and therefore the whole haircut kind of suffers for that. So that's the biggest problem I see at the minute.
Okay, so KOT's coming up.
Yeah.
You've got your seasoned skin fader that's, you know, on top of his game with the clipper work. What can you guarantee one of these barbers I've just mentioned can gain by coming to KOT, Kings of Tomorrow?
I think, look, what we can guarantee is the way that they would look to construct a haircut. So again, yes, their clipper work may be their strong point, but ultimately it doesn't define a haircut. So if you only think that a haircut is made up of one portion, which is, say, the clipper work, then you haven't got a completed article at the end of it. What you've got is one fantastic piece, which is your bottom half, maybe with a quite standard connection, but then a very flat and uninspiring top half. And what we want to guarantee, or what I know we can guarantee, is that the construction of the haircut will be a tailored finish for every single client, because each client is different. Hair type, density, you know, it's all about looking at how the head is you know, built up with the bones, understanding how they correspond to what you're doing in every part of the haircut, whether you're working with clippers, whether you're working with the scissors to build your shape on top, whether you're looking to connect the two parts. Have you left yourself enough room? Is it the right look for that client? And if you're not looking at that, like I said at the start, you'll end up with, you know, one good portion, which tends to be the clipper work, but then it kind of outshines the rest of the haircut. So it's not really a complete, you know, haircut. It needs to be all as one piece rather than a few fragmented pieces.
Okay, so I came to you with zero experience. Obviously, someone with clipper work has experience of dealing with a head of hair, dealing with a client.
Yeah.
With that experience of hair and their clippers, what kind of duration of time do you believe you can get them competent with the long hair, the long segment of a haircut?
Well, look,
in your forthcoming courses?
Look, most of what we done with you was very much building an understanding from start to finish in terms of how to combine everything. Now, the beauty with what we're dealing with is that most of the people that will eventually come to us for education, they've got their client base. So they've got haircuts that are to a set standard. So they're already dealing with lengths that have already been put in. So you're not dealing with mounds of hair. So because it's like that, they can go away and within a day of being with us, or maybe 2 days, depending on what the demands and the needs are, you can actually go and you can make considerable changes to the way that you work, because you would look at your haircut totally different to what you looked at it before, and you can maybe see what you was doing that weren't kind of working, or we can help you solve the problem. So I think in terms of with people that have got some experience, I think they can pick it up quite quickly and embed some of the stuff that we're going to give them, you know, quite rapidly into their work to see improvements, you know. And the more they practice what they take away from us, obviously the better they'll get at it, and then they'll learn to put their own kind of personality to it, because every haircut and every hair cutter has their own kind of style and personality, but it's understanding how to construct it properly to then filter off and add your personal touches to it.
Okay, yeah, no, I can agree with that. I mean, my first ever experience was at the London School of Barbering.
Yeah.
And I was lagging behind because everyone knew how to pump up the chairs, everyone knew how to cape the people, everyone knew how to take the beard down with a pair of clippers, so I was kind of lagging behind. But with all those little things, you know, it's a big learning process, because I've got to learn the very basics. So what you're saying is, with these basics of how to deal with a client, that could be very, very quick. Yeah,
of course. I mean, look, you're getting some tools that will obviously enhance your haircuts and quite quickly. Look, it's all about understanding the philosophy of the possibilities that you have with hair. At the minute, I don't think a lot of people they try to do haircuts that they see, but just because you've learnt one haircut doesn't mean that you're great at cutting hair. Understanding the possibilities that you can get from doing certain techniques on hair or building certain shapes will give you the ability to do more styles and not just copy certain trends and master one haircut. You don't want to be a one-hit wonder and learn that haircut but not be able to cater any more other haircuts as styles change, or you want to be a trendsetter yourself and create new things with sectioning patterns and, you know, using your clippers in different ways. You have to have that understanding. You need to know why you're doing stuff. What is the reason? What is the knock-on effect? If you can get that, then, you know, you've helped yourself, and all of a sudden you can progress quite quickly and look at flaws in your work and say, you know what, next time that guy comes in, I'll know what to do different because I know what I've done wrong last time. I can see the mistake and I know how to rectify it and maybe make it even better than the last. And then slowly but surely you progress with your ability of cutting hair, your confidence grows, and then it's like what Harry said earlier, you get to a point where, okay, I can actually cater for a lot of people that walk through the door and I'm not actually scared of tackling this curly hair or doing this skin fade. Or, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can deal with more and that confidence grows, and that's what it's really all about, I think.
Okay. And what principles do you see lacking in, you know, the longer hair, the scissor work? Just talking about principles from, you know, the barber I've spoken about with good clipper work.
The principles is, you know, it's just that the top always seems to be an afterthought. You know, people with very strong clipper work, they see it as an afterthought. They think that if they put a bit of product, they can usually hide a lot of stuff, but that doesn't really help your client when he goes home. Don't forget, he's only with you for a set period of time, and then the rest of the time he has to maintain his hair himself. So, you know, I think the principles that are lacking in terms of, you know, with the scissor work is understanding how to build a correct shape for that face shape, for the density of hair, for the texture of it, how it lays, looking at natural growth patterns, everything that will make you tailor a haircut specific for that client. Because like I said at the beginning, each client is different. You know, you may do a variation of a similar haircut to the last person you had in your chair, but in a way it's still different because this client has different needs and different demands because of the way that his hair is. And that is what's lacking, the understanding of hair, the understanding of how to deal with it for your particular client, whoever's sitting in your chair.
And it sounds like reading in between the lines, listening to you, it's a lot to do with the approach.
Yeah.
If the approach is wrong, then the whole haircut could be wrong.
Look, I'm a believer that you've got this canvas, right? And each canvas is there and ready for you to create your masterpiece on. But you just need to know how to plan it properly and the right direction to go with it. Because if you don't and everything is the same, then you're going to have all of... This is what devalued our business in the first place. If you remember back in the days, you'll go into a barber shop, and I remember it very well. You'll show them a picture, all right? Oh, I want this style. But they could never do it. So you'd have 5 people walking out with the same haircut, even though it didn't suit their hair, or it maybe didn't suit their face shape, or it didn't suit their lifestyle, the way they dress. That's ridiculous. It's like you have to be able to cater it and give them a tailored haircut. If you can't, then at the end of the day, you're just gonna, you know, you're gonna be, you know, £10 barber because
you've got a conveyor belt system.
Yeah, it's just a conveyor belt. I'll get him in, I'll do the same haircut, and then I think you kind of start hating your job in a way because it's just repetitive and there's no real thought pattern to it and no development on your behalf, and your clients will get bored of it because they're asking for something different and they're looking for you as a professional to provide that, but you're not really providing it because maybe you don't know how to through bad education, or you've just got into a system where you feel, this works for me, I can bang out the haircut in like 10 minutes and he always seems to be happy. But what you don't realise is they will never tell you if they're not happy. Only very few people. What they'll end up doing is, you know, going somewhere else and talking about you to other people. And then bad news travels very quickly, whereas you could do amazing haircuts, but they might tell 1 or 2 people. So you've got to value what you're doing and make sure that you're doing it properly, I think.
Stell, thank you for sharing your
pleasure.
Perspective on barbering skills that are lacking. I'm sure people have listened to you talk. I've kind of tried to set you up and set up certain situations. You've set these situations up yourself. Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of barbers have listened and think, you know, the penny's dropped on what they might be lacking. And as you said, if you haven't got the knowledge, it can make your job awkward and uncomfortable. Yeah. Having the necessary skills in place can make your job pleasurable because someone can come in and they can ask for these awkward haircuts, which I believe are the flat top, the the mullet. These are haircuts I've heard that are very difficult to approach. And after your training, after everybody, before I knew how to haircut, told me these were the difficult cuts. The first cut I did out of your company was the flat top. And
you've done very well with it as well, didn't you?
The principles that you taught me, I knew exactly how to approach it.
Yeah. Look, it's touching on value in our industry, yeah? You know, Harry said it. I think a lot of our work is devalued. There's been a lot of progression. Like Harry said, a lot of people are doing fantastic things with education. There's so many talented people in our industry giving great knowledge and stuff that they've learned over the years, and it can only do us good as barbers, because why should we not be charging more money? But with that comes a responsibility of delivering for what you're charging. And if you can't deliver through whatever reason, then you really need to look and think, how can I charge more? How can I get better results? How can I grow? If it's for self-progression, whether it's for your shop, whatever it is, you have to look at the situation, be true, and think, how can I improve this? Whether it's doing education, whether it's, you know, watching YouTube videos, whatever it takes for you to grow, then I think that's where you need to put yourself, because it's going to be uncomfortable at first, but the rewards down the line for you on a personal note and as well for the industry is going to be fantastic. And that's what it should be all about, I think.
And barbers must recognise the fact that most, if not all, hairdressing salons, I think, send all of their staff for education every 2 months, from what I gather in between the lines. It's not like people say, I want to go and educate. It's like, we're all going to learn this.
Yeah, it's called CPD, isn't it? Continual Professional Development. Like, you should do it in every line of your work, because what you was doing yesterday is not good enough today. And that's the way that me and Harry always look at it.
Especially in the fashion industry,
of
which
course.
Ultimately you're involved in. A new style of clothing comes out today. The haircut of tomorrow is going to make you look like of yesterday is going to make you look like a mug today. Hence, kings of tomorrow. You'll always be a king, and you'll always be on trend.
Exactly. Right. Well put.
Right, Stell, thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Larry.